Can I get some help around here? Anybody? Can somebody help me, please? That's how you feel sometimes when you start a nonprofit. Like you just cannot get any help. And so sometimes you've got to hire people. And if you're anything like me, when you looked around and you were like, who can help me? You had lots of people who were volunteering to help. But do you want to have a volunteer or do you want to actually hire someone? So let's talk about it in today's video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Ashlee Tate, and I love talking about the social side of business where we focus on profit, purpose, and productivity so that you can design a life and business that you love. And I am so excited to talk about this today because honestly, one of the biggest things that I see nonprofit founders doing is trying to do everything. And if you really want to enjoy, building a nonprofit and really enjoy the fruits of your labor, you need to be able to delegate. That's a huge piece and something that I see often that a lot of people don't do. So you're not going to be one of those people. Not today. No, not you. No, because today we're going to talk about the 3 different types of ways that you can hire. So instead of looking at volunteers as people who can do the work, or I hope you aren't doing this, looking at your board members as people who can do the work. We want to use our volunteers and we want to use our board members for exactly what they are. Board members are there for fiduciary responsibility. We want them to be able to help guide the organization and be the people that you can lean on for real advice, things that are really going to help you like expand the organization, things that are going to help you determine the organization's direction. And yes, as the executive director, you do that. Yes, I know. However, it's always nice to have advisors, and your advisors should be your board. And so a lot of people will make the critical mistake, I feel like, that burns out board members to ask them to do specific jobs in the organization. Even when your board members say, hey, I'll help you, let me help you, let me do this for you. When they say that, I think like a one-off job might be okay. Like, hey, can you go pick up some peanuts for our event? Sure. But when you're asking your board members to actually do work in the organization, that's not something I can actually agree with. And I cannot say that you should be doing that. It's your fastest surefire way to burn them out and to make them feel like they are just a worker bee. So with your board members, treat them like gold. Treat them like you are so lucky to have them as part of your organization. And you're so lucky to have them help steer and guide. And that's why in some of my videos, I talk a lot about making sure you choose the right board members because you want to be able to depend on them. You want to trust their opinions. You want to trust everything they say. Okay, so can you tell I love my board members? Okay, let's move on. So when we talk about hiring, there are 3 different ways of hiring. So I think for number 1, the best place to start would be with hiring an employee directly from your business. So the reason I say this would be the best place to start is because this is the one that I think we're most familiar with. So I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. And then I'll explain a couple of other ways that you can hire people in your business without doing this part, because this part is pretty in-depth. So hiring an employee directly in your business requires that you're going to have to follow some state laws and some local city laws as well. So there are 5 required benefits that you must provide when you are hiring directly through your business. The first one is Social Security. The second is disability insurance. The third is workers' compensation. 4th is leave benefits. And the 5th is unemployment insurance. You want to make sure that you are providing all of those benefits to your employee. And that can seem like a lot, and that's why a lot of people choose maybe one of the other options that I'm going to tell you in just a second. So there are some optional benefits that you can provide: retirement plans, 401ks, things like that, a match, things like that. It depends on how your business is actually set up. But for the most part, focus on the required benefits for now before we get into the optional benefits. And then I want to provide a couple other options for you. So the second option would be an independent contractor. And an independent contractor is someone who has their own business who also will take you on as a client. Now, this is a very common way of hiring, and the way that they pay their taxes is through a 1099. And the key here is that they have to have their own business with their own business license, and then they come and they do that same work that they do in their business for you. So as an example, I hired a bookkeeper. Her business was a bookkeeping business, and then she came and she worked for me. The second person that I hired was a fundraiser. She raises funds for the kids that we sponsor, and she helps me with the fundraising events and things like that. But in her business, she is a fundraiser. And so she has a business doing that. And then I hire her and my bookkeeper as their specific jobs. So there's specific duties as bookkeeper and there's specific duties as fundraiser. And for our program, we call the bookkeeper a program manager, and we call the fundraiser a case manager, because she works with kids often and finds their funds and places them. So it's important to understand kind of the base of what they do in their business, and then how it can translate into your business if they want to do that. And so then they are paid via your organization, and they have to pay taxes on that via a 1099. So that's why sometimes you'll hear business owners say, oh yeah, I had to 1099 them, as opposed to a W-2, which would be for an actual employee. Now, your third option for hiring in your organization would be a personnel service. And what a personnel service allows you to do is not worry about any of the required benefits that they have, and you don't also have to worry about 1099ing anyone. Basically, what you get is someone who has all of that back-end stuff already taken care of through the personnel service, and you pay a stipend to the personnel service, or an added fee essentially to their pay to the personnel service, but it's all wrapped into one. So let's just say that someone is going to be worth $20 if I want to bring them on as a program manager, and I would pay them that $20. Well, if I want to hire someone for $20 as their pay, the personnel service might add an additional $8, $10, or $15 onto their service charge, essentially. So really you have to budget for $28 an hour instead of $20 an hour. Or if it's $15 over, it's $35 an hour as opposed to $20 an hour. So you really have to think about how you want to use that employee and how much money you want to pay out. Now, I think a personnel service is a great option if you are looking for someone specific and you need someone to be found essentially for you, like you don't have anyone in your circle that you can hire that has a business already and can be 1099. The first option that I'm going to say is probably the best for any nonprofit founder is to have someone who is 1099. Okay, so 1099, use that person because they already have their own business and they are getting extra funds from you to supplement their own business. All right, that's the easiest way because they're going to be 1099. They have to report their taxes. They have to make sure that they keep track of everything, and that's not on you as much. The next best option could potentially be the personnel service. If you could hire someone, or you had a budget for how much you wanted to hire someone for, let's say you want to hire somebody for $15 an hour, but you're okay if you have to pay $22 an hour to add in that extra fee, or $23 an hour. If you had to add in somebody for $23 an hour, but you're getting the $15 an hour worker, and you didn't have to do anything. You don't have to worry about anything. If you can have that, and I say this for peace of mind. Now, the next piece is if you're looking for some people who are permanent and you really need to staff your positions that you might have available and you need them to be permanent, then you need to go the actual hire through your organization route. And you'll need to get all of those benefits through your state and apply for those benefits. Make sure you can provide those benefits to your employee. And then you would actually have true employees. And it really does depend on how your organization is set up as to which way is the right way to go. So think about that. And I really hope this video helped you guys. I think that this is something that will be, it will be on everybody's list at some point when you decide to step back from your organization. You also want to make sure, I just want to add this one thing in too. You also want to make sure that you are managing your organization well. Like, make sure you're in a position that you're okay to manage and delegate. Because if you're not in the position to manage and delegate and you're just going to micromanage and work alongside that person, like make sure they're doing everything perfectly all the time, then maybe you're not in a position that you're ready to hire someone, because you have to give them that ability to work inside of your organization with a little bit of autonomy and learn how to kind of lead that organization. And that's part of like coming into that leadership role of, okay, I've given you a task, I've given you a job to do, I'm paying you, and you need to be able to let them do that and be very clear with your directions when you delegate whatever those tasks might be. Another thing I really recommend is to have a scope of work so that you and the person that's actually doing the work, especially if it's a 1099 or at a personnel service, you have to send them a scope of work. So that part is already done. But whether you're hiring or you're doing an independent contractor, have a scope of work. And even before you do start hiring people, start looking at your organization to see what areas and scopes of work are already in there. Maybe you're doing them, but you would like to hire it out. What does that look like for you? A scope of work is just something that details the duties and the limitations and the expectations that you have for this employee. Basically what they will be responsible for doing and what they won't be responsible for doing, and the expectation of like when you guys will meet up and chat about what's going on. It's just really getting your organization in order, right? It's making sure that everybody's on the same page. Here are all the tasks I expect from you. Here's the expectation for like what we'll be looking for as far as, reporting back to the board, or what your salary is worth. Like, what will you be doing that warrants that salary? And that's the start of the question really for your scope of work if you want to start there. So that if you need to fire someone, or if you need to chat with them about their results, you can always go back to the scope of work and say, I haven't seen this, and this. And so this is when it's time to kind of get your big girl panties on, and you got to be a true leader of your organization and start managing the people that you hire. So those are the 3 ways that you can hire someone. Sorry, we digress a little bit, but number 1 is you can hire the employee directly. Number 2, an independent contractor, or number 3, a personnel service. All right, guys, so thank you so much for watching another video. I really hope this helped you, and I love talking about the social side of business with you guys. So I hope you get out there and unleash your something amazing this week, and I will see you next week. Talk to you soon. And if you haven't joined the tribe yet, go get your invitation. Also, if you are looking for a coach to help you build and go through these different phases of your organization, please feel free to connect with me. I'd love to hop on a clarity call with you and kind of talk through some of the things that you have going on, or that you're worried about, or that you have questions about, and help you build your social impact business. So I will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.